We will discuss 5 very important questions based on quadratic equations in this particular video. 2 are related with the radicals. One is for the roots of the quadratic equation and the other 2 finding the x-intercepts. Let us practice and get better. Thanks. Now this question is based on optimization. Problem here is a rectangular shelter is to be made using a rectangular sheet that is 5 meter wide and 2 meter long. What value of x will maximize the volume of shelter? So as you can see in the diagram, here is that rectangular sheet 5 meter by 2 meters and it's folded x meters from each side and then bend to form a shelter. We need to maximize the volume. So what should be the value of x? That is what the question is asking for. So let's try to see the volume which we obtain after folding and making the shelter. So from the diagram, it's very clear that if I remove x and x from the ends, in that case, this dimension here remaining will be how much? Well, we have reduced 2x, right? So this dimension will be 5 minus 2x. You get the idea? Which is same as the width. So that width is 5 minus 2x. And the height of the shelter, which is seen here, will be x. And therefore, the volume will be product of 5 minus 2x times x times 2, correct? So as I have explained you, the volume V will be product of 5 minus 2x, the width of the shelter, length is 2, and the height is x. So that becomes the volume of this shelter. We can rearrange this formula, taking minus outside from here, so that we can write this as 2x minus 5 times 2x. Well, that clearly gives us 2 zeros. So if I have to sketch a parabola in this situation, what do I get? I get a 0 at 0 and at 5 by 2. So I get a parabola like this, correct? So where the zeros are at the origin at 5 by 2 and the center point will give us the maximum, right? So that is a 0 and this is the other 0 at 5 by 2. Get the idea? So the maximum is midway between them. So if there are 2 zeros, let me write down here. So it has zeros at x equals 2. This one is 5 by 2, right? And this one is at 0. So the axis will be right in the center. So axis will be 0 plus 5 by 2, and then you half it, right? So we get this as 5 by 4. Substituting this value of 5 by 4 in the volume, we'll get the maximum volume, right? So let me now substitute the values obtained to get the volume. We have volume as minus 2 times 5 by 4. Take away 5 times 2 times 5 by 4, which is equal to minus of minus 5 by 2 times 5 by 2, correct? Minus and minus makes it plus, and we get this as 25 by 4. So that in meters square will be the volume, right? You get the idea? So that is what our answer is going to be. You can divide and write the decimal value also. 4 goes 6 times. 4 times 6 is 24. 10 means 2. And then 20 means 5. 6.25 meter cube, meter cube will be the volume of this particular shelter, the maximum volume. You get the idea? So we say what value of x will maximize the volume. We really are not interested in the volume, but we were only interested in the maximum value of x to maximize, right? So the axis gives you that answer, right? So the answer will be the value of x which maximizes is x equals to 5 by 4 meters, right? Or you can say 1.25 meters. So from each side, we have to take 1.25 meters to get a maximum volume. So the answer actually is that the value of x will be 1.25 meter. However, it has been extended to also find the volume. Right? So that is how you will be doing this question. I hope the concept is absolutely clear. We'll actually work with the radicals and understand how to multiply the radicals. The question here is, calculate the volume of the figure. The cube with side length of square root 2 is removed from a cuboid of the side length of 2 square root 3. So as you can see in the figure, we have removed one cube here, right? Each length is square root 2. From a bigger cube whose length is 2 square root 3, right? So this is 2 square root 3. And what is removed is square root 2, right? Okay. So we need to find the remaining volume, correct? So the volume is equal to original volume minus the removed, right? So the original volume is how much? 2 square root 3 cube, right? And the one removed is square root 2 cube. Right? So that becomes the volume of this particular cuboid. Right? So calculate the volume in this figure. Now, a cube minus b cube. Do you know the formula? I mean, this is the result. You could use calculator to calculate, but the exact answer will be this only, right? So when you cube this, what do you get? So get the volume as 2 cube is 8, right? And cube of square root 3 will be 3 square root 3. And we have minus 2 cube. It is cube root of 2 cube, right? So it will be 2 square root of 2. Just as we did with square root 3, right? So that is how we can get our expression, which can be written as 8 times 3, 24, cube 3 minus 2 square root 2. You get the idea? So that is how we can actually find the volume, and units will be unit cube. Is that clear? Right. So let's understand this part, as which is sometimes a confusion. What is 3 cube equals to, right? So 3 cube basically will be square root 3 cube. Square root 3 times square root 3 times square root 3, right? So that will be square root of 27. Square root of 27 can be treated as 9 times 3. And square root of 9 is 3, right? And you get 1 3 within the square root, still remaining, correct? Does that make sense? That is how we got this expression. Similarly for square root 2, right? So that becomes the final volume of the remaining cuboid. So I hope that helps. The question here is, calculate the volume of cube with side length of 2 square root 3 minus square root 2. So if the side length is 2 square root 3 minus square root 2, what is going to be the volume? Well, the volume is product of sides, right? So in this case, the volume will be equal to 2 square root 3 minus square root 2 whole cube, right? That is what the volume will be. You will multiply this by itself, right? 3 times. You can always pause the video to answer this question by expanding this and simplifying. So basically, it means that you will need 2 square root 3 minus 2, square root 2 square, right? Times 2 square root 3 minus square root 2. Well, if you know the formula for a minus b whole cube, you could also use that. Let me write down the formula, but I'm not using it here. A minus b whole cube. You could use the formula, which is a cube minus 3a square b plus 3ab square minus b cube, right? You could use this formula to expand. But I'll use the square formula because most students do not know this cube formula, right? Maybe that is the reason why this question is there in the test paper. So let's find the square of this, which is the square formula, you remember, a plus b whole square is a square plus 2ab plus b square, correct? So square of, let me write this as 2 square root 3 a square minus, if it is minus, this will be minus, right? 2 times 2ab means 2 square root 3 times 2 plus b square means square root 2 square, right? Times will do 2 square root 3 minus square root 2, correct? So that gives you square of this, let me put square brackets here. Square of this is 4 times 3, right? Minus 4 square root 6 plus 2 times 2 square root 3 minus square root 2. That is equal to 4 times 3 is 12, right? Minus 4 square root 6 plus 2 times 2 square root 3 minus square root 2, right? So we can now simplify. 12 plus 2 is 14 minus 4 square root 6 times 2 square root 3 minus square root 2. Let's apply the distributive property. Multiplying 14 by both the terms, right? And then by 4 square root 6. So you get what? 14 times 2 is 28 square root 3. And then we have 14 square root 2. Then with 4 square root 6, we get 4 times 2 is 8 with a negative sign. Square root of 6 times 3 is 18. 4 minus minus becomes plus, and square root 12. Makes sense, right? Have a good look at it, right? Now we can simplify. We have 28 square root 3 minus 14 square root 2. Now 18 within the square root can be written as 9 times 2. So 9 comes outside. 9 times 8 is 72, right? And 4 times 12 within square root means 4 times 3. So 2 comes outside, right? So 8 square root 3. Now you can combine 28 square root 3 with 8, which gives you 36 square root 3. And the square root 2's, minus and minus 72, they can be added. We get negative of 86, right? So that becomes the volume of the cube, right? So we'll say unit cube. Make sense? So that is how we are going to solve this particular question. I'd like you to verify this solution by using the formula directly, right? So that is going to help you to practice and get ready for your own test. I hope it makes sense. The question here is, a sports store sells jersey for $77 each. At this price, they sell 12 jerseys each week. The managers learn that for each $2 decrease, the number of sales each week will increase by 1. Find the selling price of the jersey if the revenue must be $10.85 for the week, right? So let's try to understand the situation. It says a store sells each jersey for $77. So the cost happens to be 77, and they are able to sell how many jerseys? 12 each week, right? The manager learns that for each $2 decrease, that means if I make it minus 2, the number of sales each week will increase by 1, so it will add by 1. You get the idea? So, 75 will give me a sale of 13, right? But if I reduce by 2n, so what I'm doing is that 77 minus n multiples of 2, then I'll be able to sell 12 plus n jersey. Does it make sense to you? Correct? So it says find the selling price of the jersey if the revenue is $10.85. So the revenue is basically product of price, right? So the revenue here is the product of price and the quantity sold, right? So let me write down directly. It is 77 minus 2n, which is the price, and the quantity sold is 12 plus n. Make sense? Now basically we want this revenue to be 1085. So for that, what is the value of n? And then we'll find the price. Does that make sense to you? So that is the equation. Correct? So we can actually expand and simplify. So we have 1085 equals to 77 times 12. So let's write down the quadratic equation, right? Which is 924. I'm just expanding, right? Plus 77n minus 24n, and 2 times this will be minus 2n square. Bringing the terms together, we get 2n square. I'm just bringing them on the left side. And combining these two, 77n and minus 24, we get 53. When I bring it on this side, it becomes minus 53, right? And then here we have plus 1085 minus 924 equals to 0, correct? So we have 2n square minus 53n, 1085 minus 924. Gives me 161. So we have to now find the value of n. I'll use the quadratic formula, right? So minus b, which is 53, plus minus square root of 53 square, minus 4ac, 4 times 161 times 2, over 2a, right? 2 times 2, which is 4. So within the square root, I have 53 square minus 4 times 2 times 161, 1521, square root of 1521 gives me 39. So we have 53 plus minus 39 over 4, correct? So we still have 53 minus 39 can also work, right? So 53 minus 39 equals to 14. Divide by 4 gives me 7 by 2. So one of the answers is 3.5. The other answer is very large, so we cannot, that will not be applicable. So 77 minus 2n, n has to be less than half of 77, right? Otherwise you're selling it for free, right? So 38. So from here we know that n, let me write down in red, has to be less than 38.5. Make sense? So 3.5 is a good value of n to go with. So find the selling price. So selling price could be 77 minus. So the selling price will be how much? Let me just push it a bit. So the selling price will be 77 minus 2 times 3.5. Is it okay? Which is 77 minus 7, which is $70. So we get the selling price of $70 for a sale of 1085. Make sense? So that is how you're going to answer this particular question. We have a very interesting application question here for you. It's a real life situation. The question has come in past test papers, and so I hope its practice will help you. A volleyball is bumped so that it just makes over 8-foot net. If the person hits the ball 2 feet from the ground when she is standing 8 feet from the net, how far from the other side of the net will the ball hit the ground? That's the question for you, right? So the scenario is something like this, that let's say that's the ground, right? And the person hits the ball so from here. Right? So this is 2 feet above the ground. And let's say the net is right there in the center, right? So net is, let's say, at the origin, and the person standing 10 feet from the center, right? And is 2 feet away. So this point will be, so the y value is 2 here. And we are given the net is 8 foot, so the maximum height is 8. We want to find what is this position, right? So this is what we want to find. You get the idea. Let me write this value as a, right? So you can think about the coordinate axis placed here to get the equation of the ball, right? So this is the point where we have the net. Just over the net, the ball goes. So I hope the scenario is clear to you, right? Now, since the vertex is at the y-intercept, what is going to be the equation of parabola? So the parabolic path, we have we could write minus because it's a parabola opening downwards, a times x squared plus 8, since the maximum is 8, right? To find the value of a, I could use this particular coordinate point, which is 10, 2, right? So the person is at the point 10 and the height is 2. You get the idea. Since it is given to us that ball is 2 feet from the ground, right? And the person is standing 10 feet from the net. So this is 10 feet. You get the idea. So that is how we get this point 10, 2. So let's substitute this point for x and y, 2 being the y value, right? Minus a, x being 10. Rearrange, so we get 2 minus 8 equals to minus 100a. So which is minus 6, right? And we are dividing by minus 100 to get the value of a, right? You could simplify, write this as 3 out of 50. No problems. So we get the equation of parabola, which is y equals to minus 3 over 50 x squared plus 8. Now the question is, how far from the other side of the net will the ball hit the ground? So now we are interested in finding this length. You get the idea. Hitting the ground means height will be 0. So equate 0 for the height and find the value of x. You get the idea? So let's rearrange. We get 3 over 50 x squared equals to 8. So now that means that x squared is 8 times 50 over 3, right? And x will be square root of that, right? Plus minus square root of 8 times 5, 40 means 400, right? Over 3. Makes sense? So which is 20 over square root 3. We can use the calculator and calculate this value, right? Let me do that. So we have 400 divided by 3 and square root of that. Gives us decimal value of 11.54. 11.55, I'm rounding, right? So this is 11.55 meters. So the ball will land 11.55 meters on the other side. So negative really means on the other side of the net, right? So our answer will be 11.55 meters on other side. Distances are measured in positive values, and therefore we are using the term other side. I hope it makes sense, right? In this test practice series, we are taking up questions based on quadratic equations. These questions are selected from past 5 years test papers. I hope going through them will help you get better marks, just as most students of mine get. In case you want to learn directly from me, you can join my classes by sending an email on the address given and follow the success path to achieve your goals. The question here is, the line y equals to minus 2x plus k is tangent to the parabola y equals to 3x squared plus 4x minus 1. Find k. Very important question. Sometimes it comes as a bonus question also. Now when we are saying that the line is tangent to the parabola, it really means that there's only one point of intersection. So of course we are going to equate the two things and find the point of intersection. But the idea here is not really to find the point of intersection, is to find the value of k, right? So let's begin by equating the 2, which is minus 2x plus k, should be equal to the parabola 3x squared plus 4x minus 1, right? So when you equate, we actually can find from here points of intersection. Now we are given that this line is a tangent. Tangent means there is only one point of intersection. And what does that mean? That really means that if I have an equation ax squared plus bx plus y equals to 0, then the solution being 1 means that b squared minus 4ac should be equal to 0. The discriminant, which we call this as discriminant d, is equal to 0, correct? So we are interested in that value of k, which will make discriminant 0. So I hope you understand the question, right? You can now pause the video and answer. Let's do the needful. So let's take all the terms to the right hand side. So we have here 3x squared plus 4x minus 2x comes here with plus 2x, and then we have minus 1 and minus k. Clear? So in this equation, when you simplify it, you get 3x squared. 4 plus 2 is 6, right? And then we can write this as minus, you can also write plus here, right? And within brackets, I can write minus 1 minus k. So that is the constant. So we want b squared minus 4ac to be 0. So here, what is a? The value of a is 3, right? Value of b is 6, and the value of c is minus 1 minus k. You see that? So what is b squared minus 4ac? So which is 6 squared minus 4 times a is 3, right? And c is minus 1 minus k. And that should be equal to 0. You understand? This will give you the value of k. Is this concept clear to you? Perfect. Now just move on and simplify. So since those terms are negative for us, so we can just open this up. We got 36 minus and minus. We can just multiply all these terms, right? So we can say plus, right? Minus and minus becomes plus, right? 12 times. Let me write 1 plus k now. Equal to 0, correct? Makes sense? So we can write 12 times 1 plus k equals to minus 36. Divide by 12, we get 1 plus k equals to minus 36 by 12, which is minus 3. And so the value of k is minus 3 minus 1, which is minus 4. Makes sense? So we have got the value of k as equal to minus 4. And for this value of k, the line will be tangent to the given parabola. Makes sense, right? So that is how we have to solve this particular question. Well, you could always extend this question to find the point of tangency, right? So let me write down here as an extension. Since you are practicing for the test, it's a good idea to do so, right? Also, find point of tangency. So now, for that, substitute k, right? Substitute k and then solve the equation, right? Then you will get the point of tangency also. Makes sense, right? So that is how it should be done. Here we have a very interesting question for you. It says, the line with slope of 1 is tangent to parabola y equals to minus 2x squared plus 5x plus 4. Find y-intercept of the line. Now this is a test question and I hope its solution will help you to prepare for test. In case you want to learn from me, feel free to send an email on the address given. Let us first understand what the question means and how do we solve it. A line with slope of 1 is tangent to this parabola. And we need to find the y-intercept of the line. So let this y-intercept be b, right? Well, let me take k, right? Let me say, let y-intercept be k. In that case, the equation line will be what? Y equals to slope is 1, x plus k, right? So x plus k is tangent. Make sense? So k, the y-intercept, you can now find using the concept that if it is tangent, then the discriminant should be 0, right? So you also understand that if the equation is ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, then x is equals to minus b plus minus square root of b square minus 4ac over 2a, right? So you have two solutions. However, the discriminant, which is, let me write just b square minus 4ac, right, equals to 0 means tangent. One root, one place where it touches, correct? Tangential. So what we are going to do is equate the two, right? So as you understand now the concept, so to find the point of tangency, rather the value of k in this case, we'll say line x plus k should be equal to minus 2x squared plus 5x plus 4. And we can solve. Let's bring all the terms to the right hand side. So we get minus 2x squared. It's good to bring them on the left hand side. I want to keep leading coefficient positive, right? So 2x squared minus 5x. We have plus x plus k here. Minus 4 equals to 0. So in this equation, let's simplify further, combining 5x and x, right? So we get minus 4x plus c is k minus 4. Do you see that is the constant term, right? So you can see from here that the value of a is 2, right? B is minus 4 and c is k minus 4, right? So the discriminant, which is b square minus 4 ac, will be equated to 0, correct? Let's do it. So what we have here is b square, which is minus 4, right? So minus 4 squared minus 4 times a is 2 and c is k minus 4. That should be equal to 0 for tangent. Is that clear to you? So we have 16 and this gives me minus 8 k minus 4 equals to 0. So I have 16 equals to 8 k minus 4. Dividing by 8, I get k minus 4 value, which is 2, right? So 2 is k minus 4, correct? So from here I can say k is 2 plus 4, which is 6. So k is my y-intercept, right? So we get y-intercept as equal to 6, correct? Do you see that? So that is how you can actually solve this particular question. Brilliant question. So I hope you understand the concept. Many times in test papers you have such questions which are not really dealt in the classroom. So I hope these questions are helping you. Feel free to share your comments. If you like and subscribe to my videos, that'll be great. Thanks for your time and all the best.